Hello, hello. How are we doing today? My name's Tyler Canably at PPR Tyler on Twitter, and today we're going to be breaking down all 32 NFL teams and their win totals. I'm giving my over/under predictions. I have 17 overs and 15 unders, which is probably the way you should be playing it. I kind of looked at it. I was like, I had like 19 overs and whatever the math on that is, 13 unders. And I was like, I gotta change some of those. So I changed some of those, got it down to a more 50-50 split. I'm excited to talk about some of these because some of them are hard. Like, some of them I don't have, big stances on. Some of them I do, though. So I'm really ready to dive into that. So let's get into it, baby. Here we go. Right, let me share my screen. Sorry, let me get rid of this overlay real quick. There, you can see my beautiful face. So this is the over-under scenario that I got going. So let's just start with the Arizona Cardinals. I have the Arizona Cardinals at over 7.5 wins. Just feel like Arizona. Here, let me pull up the standings too, because I had the standings open while I was looking at all this stuff. So let me just pull that up real quick. All right, here we go. So the Cardinals last year were 4-13. Obviously, they start the year off with no Kyler Murray. Kind of played good at the end of the stretch. They beat the Eagles in Philly, which, Philly kind of collapsed toward the end of the season. But I still thought it was a really good win for the Cardinals. I just feel like their offense is going to be clicking this year, man. They got Marvin Harrison. They got a new running back in Trey Benson. I'm worried about the defense. The defense in Arizona has always been bad, but they do have a defensive-minded head coach. They were gritty at some points in the season last year. I think Arizona could definitely get 8 wins. I mean, to go, 8 and what would the math be on that? 8 and what was that? It's not 7, 8 and 9. They can definitely go 8 and 9. Like slightly below 500. Like that, Arizona just feels like a 500 team. I think they can get to 8 wins. So I like Arizona to go over that total. I have the Atlanta Falcons next. The Atlanta Falcons, man, like they were 7-10 last year, and their win total is 9.5. Like they have to get 10 wins. Like that division, they have actually the easiest schedule in the NFL. Feels like they're due for at least 10 wins. A 10-7 season. That does not feel out of the realm of possibility for Atlanta. And I think you're kind of insulated too, where like you don't really want to be betting on a rookie quarterback. But if something more happened to Kirk, like at least you do have a couple pieces at the quarterback position you feel good about. So I feel really good about Atlanta this year. Obviously, I'm a Falcons fan, so I'm a little biased, but I didn't touch their win total last year. I think I'll bet this at the end of the day. Again, I didn't bet all of these, but I definitely will bet some of them. I'll kind of go over which ones I feel really strongly about. Atlanta, I'll probably bet on them because they're my team, but I feel like they can definitely go 10-7 this year. Like 9.5 is not. It's a lot of these teams are right at where I thought they would be with wins. Atlanta 9.5 feels good, but I think I like them going 10-7 this year. Baltimore Ravens almost wanted to hit the under, 11 wins, but they do, and they're in a tough division. So like this one could go either way. I just decided like they have most of that team returning. Yeah, Patrick Queen has gone, a couple of those vet guys, but they bring in Derrick Henry, which is going to help their offense tremendously. Second year under Todd Monken, which is always good for a quarterback and just the offense in general. That defense, maybe it's not like as dominant as we saw last year, but it's still going to be a very, very good defense. So I like Baltimore to get at least 11 wins. Last year they were 13-4. And again, and it's the NFL, anything can happen. They lost a couple of close games as well. So it's NFL, every game's a close game, but I think they can get over 11 wins. That even if they get 11, that'd be 2 less than they had last year. So I think that's fine for Baltimore to get over 10.5. All right, let's get to our first under. Buffalo Bills under 10.5. Like if you're telling me we're looking at the Ravens, right, and we're looking at Buffalo, who do you think the better team is? Just straight up. There's a couple of these where like, who do you think the better team is? Like I would definitely say the better team is the Baltimore Ravens, and they have the same win total as the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills have Josh Allen, but that defense, they got a lot of guys that they don't have coming back on defense this year. Offense is going to look completely different. I just feel like they're not going to be as good as they were last year. Last year, Buffalo had they were 11-6, so they barely hit this total. I don't think they get there again this year. I don't know. Buffalo scares me. We kind of talked about it in the playoff picture thing that we did last year. So I don't know how I feel about the Bills. I like the under. This is one of the ones I feel pretty strongly about. I just feel like this, like if we're gonna see a down year from Josh Allen, like on the Bills, like as a team, the Buffalo Bills as a team under Josh Allen. Like, this is definitely the year. New offense. You got kind of a new OC. Like, he was calling plays last year, but it's still kind of a different feel. There's no elite, weapon. We like Kincaid. We think we like Keon Coleman. Some of the ancillary pieces there as well. James Cook, Curtis Samuel. But like, there's no stud. There's no go-to guy at this point, in the offseason. So I'm a little scared about the Buffalo Bills. So I like them to be under 10.5 wins. This is one of the ones I would bet on. I'm gonna star the ones I would bet on. So Buffalo Bills is the first one. Carolina Panthers. This one I really want to bet on. Carolina, like 5 and like they have to get 6 wins. This is just a completely different team. Like, I still have hope for Bryce Young. Yeah, they were 2-15 last year, but new coaching staff. We know Dave Canales is a good coach. We've seen it in Seattle. We saw it last year in Tampa Bay, and you will see what the books are saying about Tampa Bay when we get farther down in the list. But it's just I like the Panthers to go over 5.5. 6 wins is not that much. They can't go 6 and what's the math on that? 13, 12, 6 and 13. No, that's not right. 6 and 11. 6 and 11. They can't go 6 and 11. Like, come on now. I think bad division. They're probably due to get at least 3 division wins. So I like them to get probably around 6 wins. Maybe that's a hot take. I just like the offense. I think the defense can be a little better this year. So I'm excited about the Panthers. They're kind of one of my teams, for fantasy. I love Xavier Legette. I like Bryce Young, Jonathan Brooks, Deontay Johnson. So they got some pieces. Like, they had a lot more help than they did last year. So I'm excited about what the Panthers could be this season. I'm not going to say I'd bet on it, but I like them to go over 5.5 wins. So next team, Chicago Bears under 8.5. Now, this one's interesting because the Bears were 7-10 last year with Justin Fields. So you're basically betting on them to be, 2 wins better than they were last year. Obviously, they added Caleb Williams. They add Keenan Allen. So it's just, I don't know. This is just a vibe of the Bears. Like, we don't know for sure if Caleb was good. We think he's going to be good. We're drafting him in fantasy football and, on underdog, like he's going to be good. But we just don't know for sure. And that really, really scares me. So this one's kind of a gut feeling. Again, not a one I would bet on, but it's just a gut feeling that the Bears are, just due to go, under 8. It could be one of those weird seasons where, like, I feel like the Bears, like, I don't know. We'll see where they finish, in the overall standings in the NFC North, but it's not like necessarily like an easy division. You got the Lions, you got the Packers. I think the Vikings are be a little more sneaky this year than some people think. So I like the Bears to go under 8.5. Again, so this is more of a 50-50 one. I don't feel great about it. So I'll tell you the ones I feel great about. Cincinnati Bengals under 10.5 wins. I want to say over. I really like the Bengals. The Burrow wrist thing scares me a tad. I watched his interview today on Pardon My Take. Seemed like he was good, but I don't know. Like, I'm a little scared about the Bengals. Like, we kind of a weird offense, really no running game. Joe Burrow's going to be asked to do a lot, which he can definitely do when he's healthy. But like, there's some reports out there that wrist injury is not good. It's not good. So I'm really scared about that. And 11 wins, like, that's a lot of wins, man. 11 wins is a lot of wins. Like, they can still, the Bengals could definitely be like a 9-8 team or even a 10-7 team. But like 11-6 is like a really, really good season. Like, that's up there with the Ravens, like we just talked about, up there with the, the Bills, like teams that we think are good. I like the Bengals. I like Burrow. I just feel like, I don't know. I'm not too excited about it. Okay, next team, Cleveland Browns over 8.5 wins. I like the Browns. I know it's a tough division. I think Deshaun Watson has a bounce back year. They'll figure out the running game. That defense is dominant. Some O-line guys coming back that were injured last year. And, like, they were just like when Watson played, like, they were fine. Like, they were a fine team. I think people misremember just how good they were. They were 11-6 last year. So it's like, are they really going to be, like probably 2 wins worse or like 3 wins worse to hit this under? This is one I would bet on. I think Cleveland Browns is one I really like. They're going to be in any game with that defense. And it's not like they have to have a great season. Like, they have to be 9-8, 500. Browns are the definition of a slightly above 500 team. So I like the Browns. That's one I would bet on. Okay, Dallas Cowboys 10.5. They're so due for regression. Like, I just don't think they can keep that offense up. It's just CeeDee Lamb. And they got lucky last year with some injuries. Like Dak didn't miss any games. CD didn't miss any games. Like, if Dak or CD miss any games, like, they're screwed. They have no other offensive weapons on that team outside of CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, they got Brandon Cooks, who's 50 years old. Their running game isn't as good. They're going to miss Pollard. Like, Zeke's their main back. Defense, probably going to still be good, but Dan Quinn leaving, that scares me a tad. I'm just really not that in on the Dallas Cowboys. So under 10.5. Broncos under 5.5. This could just be a disaster season from I don't want to bet on Bo Nix. That's kind of what this came down to. I don't want to bet on Bo Nix. I don't want to bet on that aging defense. The offense, there's no playmakers on that offense whatsoever outside of unless you really just are just pumped about Courtland Sutton. I don't like it. Give me the Broncos under 5.5. Stay away from me. And yeah, they were better. They were better than this last year, but like I said, Russell Wilson was a good quarterback for them, just not the right system that Peyton wanted to go with overall, but he led them to some wins. Okay, under 5.5 for the Broncos, over 10.5 for Detroit. This could just be the best season they've ever had. They improved that defense, which was a real problem last year. The secondary was awful. They add some pieces to that. Obviously, Terrion Arnold, who some people had as the best corner in the draft, so they add to that. A couple other pieces they get in Detroit. Still the same offense. Ben Johnson is still there. I just really like the Lions to go over 10.5 this year. And then we got the Green Bay Packers under 9.5 wins. 10 wins for Green Bay feels, I don't know. They didn't really add anybody, on the offensive side of the ball outside of Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, they're kind of the same for me. Different styles of players, but, I don't think it changes that much. I do like Marshawn Lloyd a lot, but, I don't know. Just some of the Packers were I don't feel like they're just due to get 10 wins. They still got to fight. They feel like a 9-8 team to me. That's very close to this line. I wouldn't bet on this, but just kind of one of those gut feelings, right? One of those gut feelings. All right, we'll get to the second half of this list after we hear a word from the Podfather about the Breakout Finder.
Oh, hey, it's Mr. Breakout Finder coming at you. The Breakout Finder features 3 key tools. A database of metrics that include speed score, college dominator, breakout age, but also Breakout Finder only stats like dynamic score, level of competition, teammate score. All of these things are part of the overall Breakout Finder algorithm that pinpoints the probability that a player will break out. Everyone's talking about my model does this and my model does that. Well, we give you the data points that go into the model. We have a feature that lets you compare players, and then we give you the precise probability of every wide receiver, every running back, sorted and filterable by class year. So when I'm talking to my friends and I need to show them why I'm so bullish on player X, I pull out the Breakout Finder and bam, there he is. So go to the App Store, go to Google Play. It's $5 to get the Breakout Finder, and then a couple extra bucks to get some of these additional enhanced stats. Go download it and thank me later.
Thank him later. Breakout Finder, great thing that Player Profiler offers. Let's get back to the over-under series. Next one I got for you guys, Houston Texans. Now, this might be a hot take. My gut was when I first saw it, I was oh, they can get 10 wins, but I don't know, man. They were good last year. Yeah, they add a whole bunch of pieces on that offense. They lost a couple pieces on defense that no one really kind of cares about. Lost one of their stud pass rushers. Yes, they had Neil Hunter, but they also lost Blake Cashman, who's a vital part of that defense at linebacker. So I'm gonna kind of be a contrarian here. Take the under on the Houston Texans. Tough division. When you come the Colts are sneaky. I have the under for them right here. They're sneaky. The Jags are sneaky. I don't think it's a shoe-in that the Texans win the AFC South. So I like the under there. Wouldn't bet on it, but I like it. Colts. Now this is one just from a pure comparison thing. The Jags are 8.5. Colts are also 8.5. I feel like the Jags. Am I crazy for thinking the Jags are a much better team than the Indianapolis Colts? This one is one I would bet on right here over Jacksonville. I mean necessarily under the Colts, but I would definitely bet the over on Jacksonville. I just this is Trevor's year. They just pay him to be the guy. You're not paying the guy to go freaking 8-7 or 8-9, right? You're not paying T-Law to go 8-9. You're paying him to get in the playoffs, win the division. 9 wins, 8 wins is not going to win the division. I think I would bet on the Jags to win the division, honestly. I like their defense. They add a ton of pieces to that offense, a couple O-line pieces as well. I like the Jags to go over 8.5 wins. That's one I would definitely bet on. I feel good about that one. Let's move to KC. I'm just of the opinion that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to have one of the best seasons of the Patrick Mahomes era. This could be one of those literally career years from Mahomes and company. That offense is unfreaking believable. You got Rice when he comes back. You got Hollywood. You got Worthy. You got Kelsey. You got Pacheco. That O-line's still good. Yeah, they lose Snead, but that defense is still pretty rock solid. I think this is a career year for the Chiefs. This is one I would also bet on. I really like the Kansas City Chiefs to really just go out there and just have like literally like a 15-win season. I truly think they can win 14, 15 games. So I like the over on 11.5 on this for sure. Vegas Raiders over 6.5. It's just the Vegas was good down the stretch last year. I think they have 2 shots at quarterback. If one doesn't work, I think they can move to another and be fine. Not like AOC's in second year. You got Gardner Minshew, who's a vet as well. 7 wins feels like the floor for this team, to be honest. Like I think they're going to be pretty good. So I'm excited about the Raiders. Not what I would bet on, but I like over 6.5. That was just my gut feeling on this. I do not like 8.5 for the Chargers. Kind of another comparison game here. Rams, Chargers. The Rams are just a better team than the Chargers. Like, am I crazy? The Rams defense kind of scary, but that offense is unbelievable. It's not like the Chargers defense is any better than the Rams. Yeah, they keep Khalil Mack and they have Herbert, but it's not like outside of that, like the Chargers defense has just not been good. And they were bad under a defensive-minded head coach. Granted, that coach got fired, but I don't know. Like we'll see what it looks like under Harbaugh. Maybe they're in more games, because they're running the ball, so maybe they get there with 9 wins. But if I'm picking just between the Rams and the Chargers, I'm definitely picking the Rams to go over 8.5 over the Chargers. So there was another comparison game there. So under for the Chargers, over for the Rams. Let's move on to Miami. Over 9.5 wins. I like Miami. I've always liked Miami. I'm a McDaniel guy. Love that offense. Love what he does. They have Jalen Ramsey back for the full year. Obviously, that offense is just going to be even more supercharged. They add Jonnu Smith, they add OBJ, they add Jalen Wright in the backfield. Like that offense is going to be just unbelievable again. We'll see what the defense looks like, but it's not necessarily that tough a division. Like the Bills aren't as good this year. The Pats are awful. Who am I missing? Pats. Why can't I think of the last team? Dolphins, Pats. Dolphins, Pats, Bills, and Jets. Jets will be fine. We'll see what the Jets look like, but yeah, I like Miami over Minnesota. Now this one would be a hot take, but I live in Minnesota. I'm not a Minnesota fan, but I kind of hear all the rumblings. Like KOC wants to win games. Like they're not going to tank for nothing. They have their quarterbacks. Like they want to win. They just don't strike me as a team that like is going to like, oh yeah, we'll tank for a good pick. Like that's not what they do. That doesn't happen in the NFL very rarely. Let's see the Dolphins that 1 year and that you get a first round taken away from you because your owner openly talked about tanking. That's not the Vikings. Like they're like they want to be like a first class organization. They're not going to get there by losing a ton of games. I like them to get at least 8. I think they could be a sneaky wild card team this year. Like I truly do. I think they could be that kind of team. So let's move on to New England Patriots. I just think the Patriots are going to be bad. They got Brissett, they got May. Defense bad. Offensive weapons we'll see. They got some rookies, but just not really excited about the Pats. I like the under 4.5 for them there. New Orleans Saints under 7.5. Aging defense, like everyone on that team is old outside of Olave and like what Kendre Miller. Like yeah, they got some other pieces, but like, I'm really not excited about the Saints. It's just something that I just feel like this could be like a disaster year. Like the Saints are due for a disaster year. All their cap issues, I think they're one of the oldest teams in the league. Like I'm not fired up about the Saints. Not fired up whatsoever. So I like them to be under 7.5 wins. New York Giants, don't like them either. Daniel Jones, we'll see. Yeah, they got neighbors. Defense probably still going to be, whatever. It just feels like they haven't really fixed anything in New York. So under 6.5 wins for the Giants. Move on over to the Jets. 9.5 wins. Like I said in the playoff picture, I think the Jets. This is assuming Rodgers stays healthy. If Rodgers stays healthy, they're shooing for 10 wins at least. That's what I think. I just think the Jets, that defense. All they need is like a middle of the road offense. That's all they need to be good. So I like Jets over 9.5. Eagles over 10.5. This could be another one of those, dominant Eagles years. That offense is still, really good. They signed Saquon in free agency. They add to that secondary that got shredded last year with Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. Eagles kill it in the draft. I think those guys are going to step in and be good right away. So I like the Eagles over 10.5. This is one I would bet on too. I would definitely bet on this one. I like this one a lot. Steelers under 8.5. At some point, it's not going to work out for the Eagles. The Steelers, excuse me. This is the year, like, Russ, whatever. We'll see. Justin Fields. Like, I'm not liking the vibes in Pittsburgh. We'll see. Maybe it's stupid to bet against the king of mediocrity himself and Mike Tomlin, but I don't know. Tough division. Tough division. So Niners over 11.5 wins. They're still an unbelievable team. What they finished last year? Really good. I mean, they were 12-5 last year. I think it probably be even better than that this year. I think they definitely could. So I like the Niners over 11.5. Seattle Seahawks. This is one of my truther teams. Definitely one I would bet on. This was a line where I couldn't believe it. They definitely get over. They definitely finished at least 8-9. Really, really like the Seahawks. So yeah, love the Seahawks. That offense is going to be a way different. That defense, one of the best defensive minds in the league, and the new head coach they got, Mike McDonald. Offensive mind, Ryan Grubb coming over from Washington. Really going to air out this offense. It's going to look more like 2024 than it did last year, where it looked like 2005 under Pete Carroll. Really excited about the Seahawks. This is like my favorite bet. This is going to get a ton of stars right here, because this is my favorite bet. Love this bet. Okay, Tampa Bay under 7.5. I don't know what it looks like without Dave Canales. Baker, we'll see. I don't know. I don't know what it looks like. Yeah, they were good last year. Doesn't mean they're going to be good this year. I think Atlanta wins a ton more games. I don't think Tampa Bay gets in the wild card. I don't think they win the division. So under 7.5 for me. Titans over 6.5. New coaching staff, way different offense. I think they were finished around this last year. I mean, what were they last year? Yeah, 6-11. New head coach, like better weapons. I think they get to 7 wins this year. So that concludes it. Oh, and then Commanders under 6.5. We'll see. I wanted to say over. But actually, let's change this to over. I like the over. I think Jaden Daniels has a good year. I bet on him to win Rookie of the Year. So I like the over for this. So in total, we have 17. I guess that would be 18 overs. 18 overs and 14 unders. So maybe I'm being a little bit more optimistic on some teams, but this is my list. These are the Seattle over 7.5, Philly over 10.5, KC over 11.5, Jacksonville over 8.5, and Cleveland over 8.5 are all the game. And then Buffalo Bills under 10.5 are all the ones I would bet on personally. So yeah, that's the list. And we'll see you next week. Next Monday, I'll be back. I'm also going live in 8 minutes with Nez from the Badge Bros on PPR Tyler on YouTube. So come check us out there, and we will catch you next week. See you later. Peace.
From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the hosts, the research they do, the production costs? Go to PlayerProfiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, Data Analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.